today I have an unhaul for you guys. I know I just did a haul not too long ago, and now I have an unhaul because, you know, out with the old, in with the new. I really needed to, make some room on my shelves for some of my new books because I just bought a bunch. My birthday's coming up in July, and I know I'm going to end up acquiring many more books on my birthday, so I had to make some room, you know, preemptively make some room. And also, I had some books that, like, either I had double copies of or I just didn't like, and I don't want to keep books I didn't like. But this unhaul is not just books. It is also bookish things. And that is because I get Owlcrate, Illumicrate, and Fairy Loot. So I acquire all of these like bookish goodies, and most of them I love and I use, and that's great. But when I do not like love and use them, they just kind of sit and take up room, and I'm not all about that life. Like, I'm trying to declutter. I'm decluttering the whole house. Like, I went through the kids' room and the kitchen and, you know, all of that. So why not go through my library and get rid of more than just books, y'all? Because, you know, we get that stuff that's like, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? So I've also got some like bookish stuff from book boxes that I'm going to be getting rid of. When it comes to that, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it. I normally take all of my unhaul stuff to my local used bookstore, and I don't know if they take stuff like the bookish puzzles and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, but I might just like Facebook message them and ask because they usually respond really well. But also, I'm like, do I maybe like sell it on like Mercari because I could get like, you know, at least some of my money back? I don't know. You tell me. Should I just donate it to the used bookstore, or should I like see if I can sell it on Mercari? I know it's kind of a pain. I've done it before with other things, so I don't know what I want to do. All right, so let's start this off with the books, and then I'll go into like the book box stuff. The first thing I'm going to be getting rid of, and like, don't come at me because I'm getting rid of this for a reason that you might not expect, is this copy of The Lies of Locke Lamora. I really want to read this. I have not read this yet. I really, really, really want to read this book, but I know me, and I know the reason that I have not read it yet is because this is a mass market paperback. It's tiny. It's hard to read. It's tiny print. I'm never going to read this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this one and like repurchase one that's like a regular sized book. Because honestly, I will not read this in this format. It bothers me. I already have a hard enough time seeing, and then this just makes it worse, and then I can't put my book light on it, and like, it's just a whole thing with mass market paperbacks. Alan, don't come for me. I hate them. I know you love your mass markets, and I still appreciate you as a friend, but we can disagree on these things. I can't. We're getting rid of her because she's a mass market. But I will repurchase. This is actually an accidental purchase. I didn't know it was mass market when I purchased it off Amazon because I wasn't paying attention good enough. So it's just been sitting on my shelf for like a year and a half. So she got to go. Next up is a book that survived the last purge, but will not be surviving this one. And that is A Discovery of Wishes. I just have no desire to read this. I tried. I still don't find myself being like, ooh, I want to get to that. And I'm just not that interested in getting to it. So like, it's just taking up room and I need it to go out of my life. Next is The Devouring Grey. This again is just one that I picked up that I'm like, eh. The more I look at it, the more I don't want to read it. The more I read the description, the more I'm like, eh. Like, it seems just not for me. And this is one that I had picked up like quite some time ago on sale somewhere. I think this might have been like a book outlet book or an Ollie's book, one of those two. And honestly, I just find myself not being that interested in it, so I figure like pass it on. I'm also getting rid of The Reckoning of Fallen Gods. This is, I think, book 2 in the Coven series. I loved book 1 so much. and I actually plan on reading this. I have a regular size of this, and this is gonna go because this is a mass market, and I will never read it. So I have already replaced this with its full regular book size companion that I will be reading. I love this series though. So like I accidentally purchased a pocketbook or a mass market book. I think it was like pocketbook. Like it's tiny. So yeah, she gotta go too. Y'all are gonna laugh at me for this one. I'm getting rid of Rogue Apocalypse, and I'm actually really sad about this because I really wanted to read this book. But when I bought this, I did not realize I bought the Spanish version. This whole entire book is in Spanish. Now, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school. I got a 4 on the AP test. Like, I was good conversationally for quite some time. I haven't spoken Spanish in many, 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 many years. So I have lost most of my knowledge of the language. Definitely don't have the capability to read a complex science fiction novel in a language that I no longer consider myself good at speaking. I would like to relearn Spanish. It is something that I'm interested in. I've been looking into like doing one of the like online courses or something like that, but I this gotta go. I can't. I'm really sad because I really wanted to read this. I'm also getting rid of this copy of The Lightning Thief. I got this at my used local bookstore, so I will be going back there. The only reason that I'm getting rid of this is because Alan sent me the entire like series in paperback when I won Jeopardy. So like, thank you so much. That was so sweet of you. So I don't really have a need to own a second like used copy. So this gonna go. All right, I'm also going to be getting rid of Promise of Blood. I didn't hate this book, but I didn't love this book. And honestly, there's so many more books on my shelf that I want to get to and reach for that I know I will, one, never reread this, and two, I have no real desire to finish out the series. Like, I've heard that it gets better, and I'm not saying I will never read anything by this author, because I will. Like, I will check out more by this author because I liked his writing. I just didn't love this book. And like I said, at this point, if I don't love something, it's gotta leave me because it's taking up too much room. I only have a certain amount of space here in this office. All right, we will also be getting rid of The Awakened Saints by Emily A. Duncan. I know I've heard some things about the author lately that are definitely not what I would enjoy. Like, they're definitely not like good. They cast her in a very bad light. They show her as a very like mean-spirited person. But honestly, I picked up this book so long ago and haven't reached for it. So I probably would have unhauled this either way, just because I don't find myself gravitating towards it. I've heard it compared to Shadow and Bone, which I also did not like. So I figured, like, if I didn't like that, I probably won't like this. So that, compiled with all of the stuff going on with the author, I just don't want it. It's gonna go. Next up, we're getting rid of Rage of Dragons. I sat on this one for quite a while. I really had to think hard if I wanted to get rid of this book. I didn't hate it. Like, I gave it 3 stars, so that's not a bad rating for me. Let me be honest. It's not a bad book. It's not a bad rating for me. I just didn't love it the way a lot of people do. And I honestly don't really care what happens next. I don't care enough about the characters. I don't care enough about Tao specifically. Like, there was a lot that I would have liked about this story if it was done differently, if it wasn't all Tao, if it was POV. Like, there was a lot that I didn't like. So I don't really want to read the second book. So, like, I don't know why I'm holding on to this. Kind of nostalgia-y, because it was my shelf space book that I got to co-host with. So I think that's the only reason I've held on to it, was because of like the memory of that, and that was so much fun getting to do that, but like, I don't need it anymore. I still have those memories, I still have the videos, so like, I don't need this, so I'm gonna pass it on. All right, so the next is I think this is a whole duology, and that is Nemesis and Genesis, and I picked these up on Book Outlet like forever ago, right? Like a year and a half, 2 years ago maybe, and I don't even know what these are about. I don't even know what these are about. They've just been sitting like on the bottom of my bookshelf, like shoved away, like not knowing why. I don't know if they're adult or YA. I mean, the premise sounds interesting, but like I don't reach for it. It says, it's been happening since Min was 8. Every 2 years on her birthday, a strange man finds her and murders her in cold blood. Hours later, she wakes up in a clearing just outside her tiny Idaho home, alone, unhurt, and with all the evidence of a horrifying crime erased. So it's like she gets killed on her birthday all the time, and like, I don't know. It's like kind of sci-fi-y, but I don't know. Guys, if you've read this, let me know. But then like, it's weird. The second book says, can the Fire Lake sophomore class survive in a world without consequences? Like, is this about like these sophomores in high school? Yeah. The 64 member of Fire Lake sophomore class are trapped in a place where morals have no meaning, 0 rules apply, but Noah's deaths have trained him, hardened him to lead the strongest into the future, whatever that be. I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me, I don't think, and I think someone else would like it more. All right, next up is another one that I got from like Book Outlet like 2 years ago, and I don't even remember what it's about, so I think it's just gotta go. It was sitting there with Genesis and Nemesis or whatever those books were, and that is, what is the name of this book even? Blood Rose Rebellion. I don't even know what this is, and it's just like on my shelf taking up space, like fast-paced historical fantasy full of magic, romance, and adventure. A must-read for fans of sorcery and Celia. I don't know what sorcery and Celia is. It seems to be romance-y and high British society. Just probably not for me. It's gonna go. I never find myself reaching for it, and I have, obviously, you can see so many books that like I want to get to that this just isn't on the priority list, so I might as well send it on its merry way. All right, y'all. Next up, we've got Lifelike by J. Kristoff. I just don't know why I got this. I got this, again, this is a Book Outlet book that I bought like forever ago, but I just don't find myself reaching for, and then with everything with the author lately, I just don't care enough to reach for this. Like, it just doesn't seem that, like, the concept seems cool, but like, again, like I said, I have so many other books that like I really want to get to, and this just isn't one of them. Also, I am getting rid of the entire Nevernight series. I have all 3 books. I have the signed edition of Dark Dawn. Is this upside down? Yeah. I have the signed edition of Dark Dawn. And I got this from Book Outlet too. I didn't know it was a signed first edition when I bought it, but I just thought it would be cool to have. I was like, oh, it's an assassin story. Sounds like it's going to be great, right? No. I've picked up book 1 recently. I made it about 50 pages before I was like, I can't read any more of this. I didn't like it. I didn't like the writing style, which is again part of why I'm getting rid of Lifelike, because like I did not like the writing. And it's not what I thought it was. I thought that the like footnotes were gonna bother me, but they didn't. It was really cool. I actually liked the footnotes. I thought that was a really cool addition. I didn't like the character. I didn't like our girl, Mia, and she could have been in her 20s and the story would have been the same. So, and then there's other things I've heard, like other things about this story. There's like weird sex scenes in it that just like make you feel cringy, and it just wasn't for me. The back of it got ripped too. So I had sat it down and there was something sticky and it got stuck to it. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but like part of the back ripped off. And it's really tiny print. But yeah, this whole series gonna go. Somebody at the used bookstore is gonna be very, very happy to find this, especially with the signed first edition. The last one is the one that I might save. I'm on the fence about getting rid of this series, and it is an entire series. It's an entire series that I've read, the whole thing. I loved book 1, loved book 2, did not like book 3, so I'm like, I probably don't see myself rereading it, so I might want to just pass it on. And I'm not unhauling this because I hated it or it was bad or anything. I don't know. I think I'm going to just pass it on to my niece. And that is the Ark of the Scythe. And we've got Scythe, Thunderhead, and Atoll. Thunderhead was my absolute favorite out of all of them. Yes, that's broken, floppy cut. It was like that since I got it. I got it at a book outlet like 2 years ago. Whatever. It was fun. But I really loved Scythe. I really loved Thunderhead. And I did not like the Toll. But I didn't like hate it. It just was my least favorite of the 3. It was like a 3-star book while the others were like 5-star books. So I think these are just not going to go to the used bookstore. They are going to get passed on to my 16-year-old niece if she wants them, because she is also a reader. I pass a lot of my books on to her if I find that they are age appropriate. You know, we don't want to pass her on too much stuff. But like if they're good and age appropriate, I pass these on to her. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this series, because I do really like it and I think she would like it. But man, it's so weird because I loved the first 2. I'm like, do I want to get rid of these or no? Help me. But I also think my niece would really like them. I don't know. We'll decide. All right, so that's all the books. Now I've got a few like bookish things like from book boxes that I'm going to get rid of too. First is actually a coloring book, and it's the Red Queen coloring book from Victoria Aveyard. I've never read this series. I have no desire to read this series. I actually picked this up at a Dollar Tree. And the art in it is really pretty, right? Like that's a really, I don't know how well you can see it. But like the art is really pretty. I just feel like I don't know the book. I don't know the story. It's not something I've read or cared to read. So like, why not pass it on and see if somebody who did like the series wants this? I also have this shadow box that I never put together from Illumicrate. I don't know if you saw that unboxing. I tried to figure out how it goes together and I couldn't. And there's no instructions. I mean, it's pretty, but yes, I just smelled it. Because sometimes wood smells. This does not. And I think it's Children of Blood and Bone inspired. I could be wrong. I don't remember. It's cool. It just, I could never get it together. So I'm going to just pass it on. I also have this pillowcase from a book box. It is also Nevernight inspired. So I'm going to get rid of it. Like, I didn't like the book. Why would I want this Nevernight inspired pillowcase? It's a nice pillowcase. If this was anything else inspired, I would keep it. But like, it doesn't make sense to me to keep something from a fandom I don't like when somebody who does could have it. Sticking on theme with Nevernight, we've got this Illumicrate like organizer bag, which is pretty cool. It's like a canvas bag that just like is really cool for like, I guess, sitting on your nightstand and like holding your current reads or whatever. So it's not impractical. But again, it's Nevernight inspired and I didn't like Nevernight. So again, just like with the pillowcase, I'm not going to keep something just to keep it. I'm going to pass it on to somebody who likes Nevernight. Then we have this Folk of the Air puzzle from Illumicrate. And it's really pretty, right? Like, I wish I liked Folk of the Air for one, because that is so pretty. I don't. I hated the curl print. I also hate puzzles. I'm sorry, Abby and Sam and all my puzzle-loving friends. I hate doing puzzles. I want to like to do puzzles. I don't have the patience for puzzles. I just don't. Time, patience, none of that. I don't do puzzles. So like, especially a puzzle for a book that I didn't like. So it's gonna go. I also have another puzzle. This is an Owlcrate exclusive puzzle, and this is Ember in the Ashes. I haven't read this book, and I have it on my TBR for this month. I will probably love it because it sounds right up my alley. I just don't like puzzles, so I'm gonna get rid of it. That's that. I also have this tea because I don't drink loose leaf tea. I have a friend that does. I'm just gonna give this to her. Just thought I'd throw that in there. This is from an Illumicrate box. I don't drink tea. And finally, we have this Rule of Wolves scarf that was from our Owlcrate box, I believe, this past month. Never read this book. Didn't like Shadow and Bone. I might eventually read Six of Crows, only because Leanne is like hyped it up so much for me that like I want to read it because of her. But like I don't really think I want this scarf. I'm not even gonna unwrap it and look at it because I think it would be better donated, like wrapped. So I will be getting rid of this. And that, my friends, is everything that I am unhauling Bookish and books and book box stuff. So yeah, clearing it out, making some room, out with the old and in with the new. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed this. I had fun just kind of clearing out my stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.